In a post-Cold War world, Americans were lulled into believing the threats of communism, Marxism, and anti-American revolution had been buried alongside the Berlin Wall. But they weren't buried. They just changed uniforms. What emerged instead is a shadow alliance, an ideological coalition that has wormed its way into every institution of American life. You've seen them. You've heard their slogans. You've watched the riots, the chants, and the demands. But what you haven't been told is that all of these movements, from the Democratic Socialists of America to the Marxist-led Black Lives Matter organizers, to radical education unions, environmental extremists, and pro-Hamas sympathizers, they aren't just fighting for justice. They're fighting for a revolution, and not the romanticized patriotic kind you see in the movies. This isn't a movie. This is real life, and it's happening to our republic. What they want isn't about helping the poor, protecting the planet, or equality under law. It's about replacing America from the inside out.
You're listening to Uncle Sam Saves America, a patriotic show for the average Joe.
There's a term used by intelligence analysts called the Red-Green Alliance. It refers to the tactical cooperation between two seemingly opposite ideologies: Marxist revolutionaries, which is the red, and Islamic radicals, which is the green. On the surface, they have nothing in common, but if you dig deeper, their alliance becomes deadly clear. Both despise the West. Both see America as an empire to be dismantled. Both believe in replacing democracy with dogma. One with political extremism, and the other with a religious authoritarianism. And now, they're marching together. From pro-Hamas rallies in New York and Chicago to campus uprisings funded by both socialist and Islamist groups, we're watching the fusion of ideologies that once swore to destroy each other, now holding hands, marching in the streets to destroy us. The Democratic Socialists of America, they've co-sponsored rallies calling for the global intifada. Members of Congress have refused to condemn Hamas. And even after American hostages were taken and children were murdered, they still advocate for this terrorist group. Make no mistake, this isn't politics, it's insurrection. And it's wrapped in protest signs that are wrapped in bacon. The Red-Green Alliance is real. And its targets: Israel, the Constitution, and you and me. Their tactic: to make us fight on two fronts, one ideological and the other in the streets. Now that the enemy is exposed, let's talk about the law. Because here's the truth. America doesn't need to write new laws to stop the infiltration. It just needs to enforce the ones that are already on the books. Let's start with the Communist Control Act of 1954. This law is still active, and it declares that the Communist Party is a clear and present danger to the security of the United States in Section 841. Look it up. It gives the government the authority to dismantle communist organizations, block their funding, strip their influence, and most importantly, ban their members from holding public office. Section 843. Look it up. Let me say that again. If you are a member of a communist or a communist front organization, you are legally prohibited from serving in public office in the United States of America. This applies directly to known affiliates of the Democratic Socialists of America. The DSA is an organization that, by its charter, seeks to replace capitalism and transform government into a centralized socialist model. Sound familiar? DSA-backed politicians have openly appraised Hamas-aligned resistance, they've promoted class warfare, and they've used their office to undermine national unity. That's not public service, my friends. That's ideological warfare. You see, these are the kind of people that we have allowed to infiltrate the government, which protects the republic that we hold dear. It's infiltrated. Its ideology has been changed. It's not just the CCA that's being violated here. There are other several supporting laws that are in play as well. 18 U.S. Code 2385. It's advocating the overthrow of the government. It's a felony. The remaining sections of the USA Patriot Act, Section 802, defines domestic terrorism as attempts to influence policy through intimidation or coercion. There's RICO statutes that allow the prosecution of political entities acting as criminal enterprises. The FISA and IEEPA powers let the federal government monitor foreign-backed subversion and freeze assets tied to foreign influence operations. In other words, the law is on our side. The only thing that's missing is the political will to enforce it.
One of the most notable facets of this rally was that it was organized by the Democratic Socialists of America, which is a pretty powerful political force in this country. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Representative Jamal Bowman, both from New York, are members of the Democratic Socialists of America. A number of city council members and state lawmakers are members of the Democratic Socialists of America. Many of those individuals have said nothing and have refused to denounce the rally which took place. It's a big question now whether elected officials who have been endorsed by the Democratic Socialists of America are going to continue to accept that endorsement.
Okay, so we've exposed the ideology and we've named the actors. Some of the actors. We've shown what laws can help stop them. So why aren't they being enforced? Why are individuals with open ties to subversive organizations allowed to run for Congress, allowed to run for mayor, allowed to teach in universities, and they're allowed to shape the minds of the America's youth, which is the next generation? Why are we allowing this? The answer: political will. The Communist Control Act is still law. So is 18 Code 2385. So are the statutes under the RICO Act, the remaining sections of the Patriot Act, and the National Defense Authorization Act. Look up all of these laws. Don't just take my word. We brought also the receipts, so make sure you check in the description down below. Give us your comments on what you think should be going on here, how you think the infiltration is happening, and what we should do to prevent it. Because all of these agencies that are tasked with enforcement, such as the DOJ, the FBI, the intelligence community, and even the Congress, they've gone silent. Why? Because they are afraid. They're afraid of being called fascist. They're afraid of lawsuits. They're afraid of social media mobs. And they are afraid of being targeted themselves. You see, all politicians accumulate secrets. They get skeletons in their closets. Even those who believe in the same America and Constitution that we believe in and that we're trying to fight for. And the politicians who are on our side know that they're susceptible to slander, to defamation of character, to libel, blackmail, and the full tactic list in the Marxist playbook. So they do nothing. They do nothing. That silence is not just cowardice, it's complacency and complicity. When the law is clear and unambiguous, those tasked with the enforcement of it look the other way, and that's not neutrality. That's surrender. And let's be honest, it's not just fear, it's infiltration. There are members of Congress right now who have sworn oaths to the Constitution of the United States, but openly support Marxist revolution. They openly support the destruction of Israel and the dismantling of American capitalism. They belong to organizations that should disqualify them from being able to hold public office by law. They know it. That's why they weaponize victimhood. That's why they cry McCarthyism at the first sign of any pushback that we give them. Why they react violently to any pushback that we give them. They redefine the words that we use. They blur the lines, and then they turn around and gaslight you, the public. They have zero allegiance to the Constitution whatsoever. Their only allegiance is to their ideology. It's not even partisan anymore. This is an existential threat to the Republic.
You're listening to Uncle Sam Saves America, a patriotic show for the average Joe.